I don't think I'd have the restraint that he had yesterday to be your government starts showing some love to Saskatchewan and Alberta. We don't have to be so reliant on the U.S. So we just had a great conversation with the Prime Minister and all the premiers. We all congratulated him on his victory, but also congratulated him on how well he did yesterday and the restraint he showed. I don't think I'd have the restraint that he had yesterday, to be very frank, but in saying that, I think it's a good start on a new relationship. I saw President Trump said really kind things when he just tweeted out, so that's good. It's good for the country. It's good for the U.S. Had an opportunity to speak to the U.S. ambassador this morning and get his take on things. I think everyone's feeling relatively good on the meeting yesterday, so that's a good start. We had that conversation with the rest of the premiers. I think Prime Minister Carney did a really good job in really reaching out to the West, and I was pretty blunt. I said, it's time that your government starts showing some love to Saskatchewan and Alberta, because as I said, like the last Prime Minister showed no love, matter of fact, to the contrary. So it's nice that we're heading out there to Saskatchewan for an FMM meeting I think it's on June the 1st and June the 2nd, which is a good olive branch, and had a good discussion. So I'm a big believer of pipelines, big believer of getting rid of C-69, and we need to unite this country. And the way we're going to unite this country, as I mentioned to the Prime Minister in front of the premiers, show some love to the people of Alberta and Saskatchewan, and let's start diversifying our trade when it comes to oil. Let's start building pipelines west, east, north, and yes, south as well. But they're getting a discount, by the way. We ship them $100 million worth of oil. They turn it into $300 million and ship it out. I think the number, we're giving them a discount of 20%. Well, let's start shipping it out, because we know, and I've mentioned that to the U.S. ambassador today, that if you take oil off the trade, they have a $50 billion surplus with Canada. And I encourage them, let's start moving forward. Let's sign a deal, and let's bring certainty and build this AmCan fortress that I've been talking about for a number of months. And that was our conversation for the most part.
Are you hopeful that you can diffuse the Alberta secession movement with this kind of talk? I mean, I don't know if there's any talk about Premier Smith's potential referendum.
Well, I just always say, united we stand, divided we fall, and that was my message today. And let's continue making sure that we unite the country, not divide the country. And I spoke pretty strongly in support of Alberta and Saskatchewan, because they've been ignored for the last 10 years. They've been treated terribly, to be very frank. And I think the new Prime Minister Carney, understands that, and he's going to be out there having great conversations. And just that one move, bringing FMM out to Saskatchewan, that's a big move. So everyone congratulated him on how he performed. It didn't matter what political stripe we came from.
Were there any discussions on breaking down interprovincial trade barriers?
Yeah, we did. We actually had that discussion. He said by July the 1st, but I said, let's all the premiers, let's get together, at least sign all the MOUs. So, who's coming up in the batting cage? PEI, Saskatchewan. Hopefully, I just text Scott right now and said, hey, let's sign that deal. Even Danielle, we're texting back and forth, and she wants to sign an MOU too. So, we do get along, by the way, just to let you know. We text each other. Quebec, something? I think Premier Legault is working on something right now, but I really encouraged Premier Legault to get that pipeline through Quebec. The last poll I saw was in the high 70s that people want that pipeline. So it's going to help the entire country. We don't have to be so reliant on the U.S. This is a game changer now. This is an opportunity to build ports in the north, no matter if it's through James Bay or through Manitoba up there in Churchill. That's what we have to do to protect our country. We also have to get minerals out of the ground, not just here in Ontario, right across the board. I think the date that we're always looking for is we have to get permits before 2 years and start moving. And that's right across the board for the territories and for the other provinces that have critical minerals.
Premier, do you think that the Prime Minister did enough yesterday to get the tariffs lifted?
Yeah, I think so. No one expected to sign a deal, but I'll tell you, it was a massive step forward that he went down there, and they seemed to be getting along quite well, and he said they were getting along. So I think this is huge compared to the last Prime Minister.
Premier,
Do you have any sense of what he said to the President in the luncheon behind closed doors about getting tariffs?
Well, not to get into it deep because I wasn't there, but he did encourage the Prime Minister, the President, to move forward and let's get this deal signed. It's beneficial for both countries, and that was kind of the message that we heard today.
Your government's been under fire for not doing more to tackle this measles outbreak, which continues to grow, or for making doctor more and more readily available to the media. Are you worried about this measles outbreak, sir?
Well, let me tell you the facts, because there's always facts behind every story, and here are the facts. We have 150,000 units of vaccinations going right across the province, and we've put a $2 million ad promoting people to get their kids vaccinated. And here's the facts. There's certain communities in Ontario, for religious reasons, are not getting their kids vaccinated. I encourage anyone and everyone, you need to get your kids vaccinated, because if not, it just starts spreading. So we've been working with a chief medical officer of health and also local medical officers. They know what they're doing, but the problem is you can't force a community to get vaccinated, and the problem with that starts spreading around other communities. And so we're giving everything we have. They have 150,000 vaccines ready to roll. We just have to get those communities to get vaccinated, and for religious reasons they don't want to. That's a problem. You got to protect all of Ontario. You can't just ignore one community.
You don't think it should be mandatory?
It's a good point, but how do you force someone? Do you grab their kid and start jabbing them with a needle? It's a problem. I agree. But we're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this to make sure we have the vaccines, and we're spending $2 million on promoting getting your kids vaccinated. This is a no-brainer. Like, I remember getting the measles shots.
Last question. Premier, Bill 5, you want to exempt some projects from laws. What laws do you want to waive and make empowered in that bill?
Well, we're just running through it. I can't get specific per se, but we just want things move forward. We're in a different league now. We're fighting the tariffs, and we just want to get projects moving forward as quickly as possible. There's no longer time to sit around and wait 10 years as we do an EA and everything else. We just want to move forward with projects. This is a critical time for Ontario and Canada and the rest of the world up against these tariffs and on infrastructure, and we need to make sure we keep people working out there. And one way you do it is by building roads and highways and hospitals and schools and bridges. That's what we're going to do. But we're going to make sure that we always do an EA to make sure it's properly done. I'm not against it. I'm just against taking 5 years to get one done. It just doesn't make sense. But any other questions, folks?
We've stopped to see layoffs. What do you wait for in terms of ongoing support?
On the auto sector, well, hopefully, as we move forward with this deal, hopefully we're going to see no tariffs, so we can reassure the auto workers that they're going to have a job. I'm going to continue fighting to keep that third shift going at General Motors. And then the other area, let's start thinking outside the box. How about military vehicles? we're experts at building vehicles, and General Motors, the union out there, I give them the credit. They're the ones who came up with the idea. And General Dynamics too, light armored vehicles. There's an order pending, and we need the feds to start accelerating these orders. Let's build military vehicles as well. They said they built, I think it was 150,000 during the war. Why can't we continue doing it? So. Yeah, no, I understand that. We're going to be there to support them any way we can. We'll protect our auto workers, and we'll retrain them. And this goes back to our original point of let's start getting infrastructure projects moving. Let's start making sure that the federal government, when it comes to procurement, starts procuring, be it vehicles or ships being built here in Ontario. And that's what we're going to do. There's still a lot of good trade.
You said Premier Smith wants to sign an MOU. What's stopping her from doing so right now?
Oh, nothing. We're just going back and forth on the phone. And I said, Danielle, let's get together and let's sign the MOU. She says, yeah, right on. Let's get it done. Like, we get along. I think there's this big misnomer that we don't get along. I could call her up right now and say, come to Toronto. We'll be going out for lunch. So there's not this big rift that everyone's playing out. I just want to support the people of Alberta and Saskatchewan. They've been ignored for a decade now, and I support them. It's as simple as that.
Did the premiers tell her that maybe having a referendum isn't such a great idea against the backdrop of these annexation threats from the United States? You're saying, why did we fall?
Yeah.
Did the premiers?
No one brought that up. Maybe that comes on a private conversation. But we're all meeting on June the 1st, June the 2nd, out in Saskatchewan, and we're all united. I'm telling you, we are. I know what you mentioned about Alberta, but we're going to make sure we support the people from Alberta and Saskatchewan that's felt left out over the last 10 years. I'll be 100% behind them. And I want to build those pipelines on one condition. They use Ontario steel. So we got to protect the
Did you talk 401 tunnel? Did you talk about the 401 tunnel with the Prime Minister?
Yeah. I'm sorry?
The leader of the federal Conservatives?
Yeah, I think he's asked everyone across the country for a meeting. I have no problem with that. And I'll be more than happy to talk to anyone and work with anyone. That's just that's just what we do.
Do you think he should have run in Ontario rather than running in Alberta? I mean, he's an Ontario MP, and now he's running in Alberta.
Oh, buddy, I'm not going into that bear trap. No way.
Did the
You just
401
go there.
tunnel come up? Did the 401 tunnel come up with the Prime Minister?
Yeah, so everyone. So what the Prime Minister did, he asked everyone to give him five priorities on large national infrastructure projects, and you saw my letter, and yes, the tunnel's there. I just rattled off our 5 like everyone else was rattling off theirs. But you know what's exciting? I have my finance minister somewhere here. Where is he? I thought he was here. Okay, maybe he's gone now. Okay, anyways, we're going to have a great budget too. And within the budget, as I've always said, and I said this during the election, see, you call. I said, where did my finance minister go?
Listening to every word.
Anyways, I'm just, first of all, I'm blessed to have a guy like Peter. We're in the best fiscal shape in the entire country because of his leadership. But there's a point. During the election, I said, yeah, these tariffs are going to throw our fiscal plan off a bit. But as I mentioned to Peter before, and every event I go to, you have 2 choices here. Either start cutting and slashing and stop infrastructure projects and stop hospitals and roads and highway. It would be a disaster. Or you have a strong fiscal plan to balance. And I said, hey, never stop infrastructure projects, never stop building schools and hospitals. That's what keeps our economy going. I learned that back in I wasn't around, but World War II, or the 30s when Roosevelt got elected. It's all infrastructure. And so this guy's a champion. He's tight as skin on a grape when it comes to spending your money.